Stugotz here. Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated, but there is a better, simpler way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to live events. With SeatGeek's seamless mobile experience, you can buy and sell tickets in just 2 taps. SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices, fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like seeing your favorite team or musician in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way I found to shop for tickets. I could be anywhere, and with just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. SeatGeek is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. SeatGeek saves you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare prices and find amazing deals. Make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket, from sports and concerts to comedy and theater. Best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code LeBatard today. That's LEBATARD. That's promo code LeBatard for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
Holiday cash. Here's where to get it. MyBookie.ag is the place to score serious cash on your sports predictions. There are a lot of football, basketball, and hockey games. You can score big every day. Man up, play like the pros. The money line, side, or total. MyBookie.ag is your hookup for all your betting with all the lines and super fast payouts. Join now and MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code CHAMPION to activate the order. Don't leave the money on the table. MyBookie.ag, promo code CHAMPION, and your first deposit is matched to up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. MyBookie.ag.
Don LeBatard.
America is addicted to its technology, and it's really unhealthy.
I keep having this discussion with my wife because she is on that phone nonstop. And what I have asked for our family to do moving forward is let's figure out a time where all of us put our phones away and none of us use them till the next morning.
Stugotz.
Yeah, but nobody wants to be with you.
That just dawned on me. Thanks, Dan.
This is the Don LeBatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
If you want to talk to Ron Magill, this is the most popular segment we do every week, 786-456-4837. I just received a text on the Jerry Jones stuff to stay tuned.
Oh, boy.
Stuff's coming.
All right.
This Jerry Jones, Roger Goodell thing is just starting.
All right.
Stay tuned is what I have been told. From a source I trust.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
So watch out for that the next couple of days. 786-456-4837 is the telephone number if you want to talk to Ron Magill. Andy, start us off with Ron Magill, please.
Hey, Ron, if you could visit any zoo or wildlife preservation in the entire world, which one would it be and why?
I haven't been to the Singapore Zoo, and I hear it's amazing that they have a night zoo that you go in the night, and it's all this nocturnal stuff, and they have just an incredible place. And Singapore, tends to do those things very well. So I'd be very curious to see that. But as far as the wild goes, I haven't been to Australia, and I'd really love to go deep into the outback and see Australia.
Josh, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Josh.
Hi, this is Josh. Happy Greg Cody Tuesday. And whitetail season starts tomorrow in Michigan, rifle season. And I was wondering, Ron, your general thoughts on hunting as it's such a big cultural phenomenon in Michigan.
Well, I've said this before. The fact is we don't have a lot of natural predators where they used to be, things like wolves and mountain lions and animals like that. The hunter, I personally don't hunt myself, but I have nothing against the true hunter, the hunter who goes out there, hunts and eats what he hunts. I have a problem against people who just want to shoot something to put a head up on the wall. But, I would be a hypocrite to say, I don't like hunters because they kill animals. Because you know what? I'm not a vegetarian. I do eat meat. I think if something's done humanely and you consume what you kill, you're using it for one reason, for some part of your life, then I don't have a problem with it. The fact is, good hunters are the reason why we still have a lot of natural lands, because it's hunting licenses, it's things like duck stamps. These are the things that pay to preserve these areas, and a real hunter is going to make sure that nobody's out there just shooting everything that moves. If a real hunter, a true hunter is out there with the ethics of a true hunter and sees someone who's just shooting every bird that flies or anything that moves, he's going to be the first one that's going to knock the crap out of that person, because that's not what true hunting stands for. So, having said that, again, I don't hunt myself, but I have nothing against some of the hunters, and many of them are good friends of mine that do a really good job in making sure we always have natural areas.
Sean, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Ron, I want to know if you'd rather be trapped in a pool with a 6-foot shark or a 6-foot alligator.
Oof. Oh, definitely a 6-foot shark, no question at all. Sharks are just not these animals that are going to be attacking you. A shark in a 6-foot pool is not going to be attacking you. It's going to be trying to figure out a way to get out. An alligator is not necessarily going to attack you, but in its effort to get out may take a couple of bites out of you, and it's going to be the bite of a 6-foot alligator is much more powerful than the bite of a 6-foot shark. A 6-foot shark's got much smaller jaws, much smaller teeth than a 6-foot alligator.
Ron, was reading a story this morning about the Welsh Zoo, and I guess a lynx escaped their enclosure, and it's the second time recently that a lynx was shot to death, and people are calling it a hobby zoo, and they're demanding that it be shut down. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, first of all, for you to shoot a lynx because it escaped out of an enclosure, a lynx does not present a danger to a human being. It might present a danger to your little cat or a little toy poodle or something like that, but a lynx is not a threat to a human being. So to have to shoot that animal in and of itself tells me that these people are extremists. They're not doing something correctly, and perhaps they should be shut down if they're not being able to safely contain and maintain their animals. I do not agree with that kind of response to shoot something like a lynx. This is analogous to our bobcat here in Florida, and I've never heard of a bobcat attacking a human being ever. So there was no threat there, and the need to shoot it was unnecessary.
You would shut it down?
I would shut it down if these folks are not able to contain and maintain their animals properly. Yeah, I mean, you have a responsibility. If you have animals and you have these recurring situations where they're getting out, you're obviously doing something wrong. Everybody can make a mistake once, but to have it repetitive in that nature, then there's a problem that needs to be addressed. And if that problem's not addressed, shut them down.
Ron, recently in Illinois, for the first time in 30 years, there was a sighting of a rare wild alligator snapping turtle.
Great!
Yeah, how much damage can that do? Because I'm looking at a picture of one, and it scares me just to look at it.
Oh, well, first of all, they're not going to attack a human being, but if you happen to try to pick one up or mess with one, it could take your fingers, even a hand off a big one. These things can get to be close to 100 pounds. They have a massive head on them and a very powerful jaw, but they're not fast at all. The way they hunt, Greg, is that they open their mouths. They're so motionless on the bottom of the water where they stay that algae grows all over them, and when they open their mouth, at the base of the tongue, they have like this little red worm, and they open their mouth, stay perfectly still, and they make that little red worm wiggle around, and the fish go in thinking they're going to eat a worm, and then they close their jaw and they snap them, and that's how they eat. But it's a very powerful jaw, so it could easily take off a finger, even part of a hand, if you were to get it in there. But again, this is not something that's going to chase you down. It's not something you have to be worried about unless you're futzing around with it and you're trying to tease it or put your fingers in by its head.
Futzing is the word he used. Futzing. Louis, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead.
Hey, Ron, my wife's a forensic entomologist, and I was wondering if we use any animals other than, like, insects or dogs to help aid in murder investigations.
Not sure. Dogs and insects, of course, are used, and I think that's a fascinating field. Forensic entomology is fantastic when they use maggots and they use leeches and they use things like that to determine sometimes the time of death, sometimes even a cause of death. It really is kind of neat how these insects can help determine those things. So I think it's a fantastic field. But other than dogs, like you say, for finding out, finding bodies.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that insects helped with murders. Put it on the poll, Guillermo.
Insects.
At Batard Show, did you know that insects help solve murder mysteries?
Not at all forensics, but parrots have been called to a witness stand before.
That's right. Not the same at all. Keegan, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Keegan.
Hi, the other day I was hunting, and these turkeys came out in the field, and then crows started dive bombing them and pecking them in the head. Just wondering what was going on there. Thank you.
I'm not sure. I don't think that turkeys present a problem or a threat to crows or to their offspring or going into their nests. Crows are known for kind of dive bombing almost any other animal other than
crows
themselves.
Are jerks. The answer is crows are jerks. They do that to everybody.
You can't go through one of these segments, Dan, without trying
am
to
I right or am I not right? Am I right?
They're not jerks. As a matter of fact, Dan, they're the smartest of all birds.
Aggressive,
okay?
Smart jerks.
They're the smartest of all birds.
Kind of like me, actually.
Jerk bird. Oh, my God.
Brandon.
So I don't really know.
Brandon, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, if there was a triathlon and you had to pick 3 animals, one from land, air, and sea, and it's a long-distance triathlon. Which 3 animals would you pick?
Good
My
question.
choice.
That's a great question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off before you were done. Good
question, man.
Okay, for the air, for distance, I would definitely pick like the Arctic tern that can go thousands of miles without landing. For the sea, for the ocean, I would probably pick a sailfish, which is the fastest fish, probably at 45 miles an hour. And for the ground, I'm going to have to go. If we're going for endurance, I'm going to go with a wild dog, the African wild dog, because that can go for miles without stopping. But if you're going for distance in a short amount of space, then you got to go with the cheetah, which is the fastest land animal.
That's a good list right there. That's an excellent triathlon list.
Yep.
Well done there, Ron.
Ron, is there an animal that can sort of do all 3?
Not really. I'm going to have to go with a human being on that one. I mean, that's basically it.
Really?
There
Wait a
isn't
minute.
a bird that can
Wait a
dive
minute. There's
bomb
not an
underwater?
animal that can beat a human being in a triathlon. There's not an animal.
And a triathlon?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, because, when I say a triathlon, you're going swimming, bicycling. This triathlon he was talking about is flying. So obviously,
A human can't fly, Ron.
That's right.
Yeah, human cannot fly. You're exactly right. So but I was going with triathlon.
Right, but you could do an animal to fly while the human's on the bicycle.
Yeah, and there's no competition, of course. The animal's always going to win because any animal that flies.
So your human theory really falls apart there, doesn't it? It really does.
You're very combative with Ron lately.
Let's go ahead and watch. Let's go ahead and watch this video, please. What is this video you're doing play by play?
All right, hold on a second. Let me hit the play button here. Okay, it's a jaguar. This is a jaguar. Appears to be in the Amazon. It's in a bunch of. Oh, it's up on a bank on a river here.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
It just jumped in a river.
Oh my
I don't know what it's doing in a river.
It got a caiman. I bet you. Did it get a caiman? An alligator?
Hold on, I can't say.
Oh!
It's got a big caiman. This caiman is longer than the jag. Oh, he's got him right behind the neck. You see the caiman with his mouth. Oh, he's got it on the neck. I think he's paralyzed, and I think he's gotten the canine through the spinal cord. The caiman, and he's jumping into the bush. Wow, that was really cool. The jaguar jumped off the coast, got the caiman, brought him in, and ate him. Fantastic.
Oh, that was amazing.
Wow.
Yes.
Don Batard.
You decided to celebrate Guillermo's horrible contribution to the show with a hello.
Stugats.
That's an affirmation. When you get a hello from me, that's like the equivalent of 5 exclamation points or 4.5 smiley faces. Hello.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Texter writes in, Dan is literally ruining the Ron segments. He spoiled the Cayman in the video and is yelling the whole time. Of all the things we do, I don't get being combative with a sweetheart like Ron. I mean, it's like getting combative with Tim Kirkshin. They're 2 of the nicest people in the world. I'm not actually combative with either of them. It's just making fun of how kind they are because they wouldn't get mad about anything. Another texter writes in, and this texter is producing the show better than we are. You guys missed a big opportunity to have Ron's video be the Greg Cody falling in the bush drunk video. It would have been epic. It would have been epic. It also would have ended our friendship with Greg Cody. He would have stormed out. He would have been mad at his son. We have a video of Greg Cody drunk falling into the bushes. He will not allow us to release it publicly.
It's not about that person, that texter, producing the show better than we are. It's a great idea. Granted, it's a great idea. Greg Cody will not allow us to play the video, period.
Greg Cody has done nothing to help the show today. Nothing. Not a single thing. He has been useless for 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 40 seconds. All this show has lived today to serve Cody. Cody has done nothing to serve the show. Right now, he can't even speak because he's got pizza in his mouth. Like, all he's done today is take from the show in every respect.
Yeah, that was good pizza, by the way.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Delicious.
The Jerry Jones stuff.
Stay tuned.
You can't cover this enough, Stugats, because Jerry Jones, once you've gone to this dirty public fighting, Stugats, your end game is to eliminate him, to eliminate the commissioner, is to say, I am not going to have in my employ for $50 million a year somebody who behaves as if they don't work for me.
Correct. That's absolutely his end game. I mean, to think otherwise would be ridiculous. He wouldn't take it this far if he wasn't trying to.
But what I'm asking you is, if he's willing to take it this far, how much more is he willing to do.
I think he'll do whatever he thinks he needs to do. I'm just not certain, Dan, and I apologize because I don't know all the legalities around it and how it all works. I'm just not certain he can pull it off. I mean, you're going after other billionaires as well. First off, you're going after your own owners and threatening to sue them, and that's not going to be helpful if you want, because you need enough owners to agree with you that Roger Goodell should no longer be commissioner. And I don't think threatening those owners who are also billionaires and they don't want to be threatened, I don't think that's the best strategy.
Do you guys not find it fascinating the way that all of these owners supported Roger Goodell during a Ray Rice video that had the entire media calling for Goodell's firing? Do you not find it amazing that that wouldn't do anything to Jerry Jones's support of Roger Goodell, but that Roger Goodell going after his own running back is something that makes him make this public mess for the league and for the owners and for everybody else?
Well, does that really surprise you? Like, hurt him and I'm okay. Hurt me and no.
I'm surprised at the lack of self-awareness in it. I'm surprised that they don't mind you seeing that. Yes, I'm surprised by that.
You're surprised?
I am surprised that they don't mind me saying right now to everybody, Jerry Jones didn't care one iota when Ray Rice hit his fiancée in an elevator and that video shamed the league in support of Roger Goodell, but now cares very much, so much that he wants to get rid of Roger Goodell because it impacts his running back position. The selfishness in that is so startling. The business cutthroat in it is so startling that I want everyone to absorb it and understand that Jerry Jones is perfectly okay with you absorbing it that way because he does not care that you look at that as a moral judgment and see anything other than, yep, cutthroat businessman, and I'm going to take Goodell's jugular out next.
I don't like it, but it's not startling. You're talking about a billionaire with that kind of ego, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, who has a stadium called Jerry's World. No, I am not surprised. I didn't know. It doesn't. No, Ray Rice did not affect his team. Okay, once it affects his team, then he's all in.
Bob Kraft lost his quarterback and had his team shamed, called cheaters. Bob Kraft wasn't out here calling for Roger Goodell to be removed. He was publicly critical of Goodell. He didn't take this step. And Bob Kraft got bleeped pretty good on that one. And his initial move, even worse and more personal than this, his initial move was to support Goodell in a way that angered his own customers and fan base. And Goodell hit him again.
Dan, I understand everything you're saying. I'm just like, listen, I don't like how Jerry Jones is going about this. I don't like that he doesn't care that much about what happened with Ray Rice. I'm just not startled by it.
I'm just telling you that it needs to be put in plain terms so that you understand what's happening here, because it should be something that's offensive to you if you realize how much self-interest is involved here and how much moralizing this team does. We've got a fake food expert up next. He's going to tell you that everything you've been eating is fake. All of it's fake. He's going to explain it to you next.
Don Batard.
What do you prefer, flat wings or drumsticks? Because I like drumsticks.
I like drumsticks, too, yeah.
Flat rules.
Stugats.
If people do just drums, though, you'd think there's a bunch of extra flat wings just laying around, right?
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think more people do all flats, though.
No,
Really?
I think more people do drumettes. I'm telling you, more people do the drumettes.
I like drumettes so much more. In fact, I'd prefer to do all drums.
Flatten it.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Texter writes in, so all of a sudden you bleep bags don't want to talk football after spending 3 hours talking Miami football yesterday. Do you think that's because I'm a Dolphin fan, sir? Is that the accusation that you're making, that you feel like I would be talking under these circumstances Dolphins, Panthers, if the Dolphins had won?
We talked power rankings today. We talked about doing the playoffs differently, getting a committee to select the top 12. I don't know what show you're listening to.
We do a local hour, and we didn't mention Dolphins in that local hour.
That's right.
I'll only say this, Adam Gase should be fired. We can move on.
Okay, so this book, Real Food, Fake Food, is available now in paperback. For more information, visit realfoodfakefood.com. Larry Olmsted is with us. Stugats, do me a favor. I'm sure Larry will play along in exchange for us reading realfoodfakefood.com. After every question that he answers, you give me some of your Gase take.
Okay.
Give me a little bit of your Gase take, not all of it. Thank you for being on with us, Larry. What would you say is the thing that people are going to find most interesting in your book, a food they think is real that is actually fake?
I think seafood is probably the category that's the most rife with issues. People love sushi and a lot of other things that are really, really problematic in this country.
You can't call yourself an offensive genius and on 4th and 1 in a big spot right around the 50-yard line run the most predictable play in the history of the NFL. You can't do it.
Why is it problematic, Larry?
Well, there's been a lot of testing of say sushi restaurants all across the country, especially in the major cities, and consistently a lot of them claim to serve certain things like tuna that just aren't tuna, or high-priced fish that are substituted with low quality and potentially dangerous substitutes. Red snapper is the most frequently substituted fish in America, and studies have shown that more than 90% of the time you go to buy red snapper, whether at retail or restaurants, you're just getting a different fish. So this is like whole categories of food that people are not getting what they think they're buying.
Know your limitations. Know your limitations. Take the game to half, down 10-7 on the road 45 seconds ago. That was a terrible job having Jay Cutler throw the ball.
Larry, what's a consumer to do? Like, if I go into a restaurant, I order something advertised as Alaskan halibut, how do I know it is? And what do you ask the waiter? How can you prove this? Or like what's a consumer to do?
Yeah, you do want to ask questions. The one that I find is the most helpful is to ask, where do you get your seafood? Because if a restaurant is getting premium product like wild-caught Alaskan salmon or Alaskan halibut or Dover sole or red snapper, they're buying it from a specialty distributor. They're not getting that the same place they're getting their cabbage and onions and paper towels. So if they say, oh, yeah, we get it from Sea to Table in New York, or can name a seafood distributor, that's a good sign. If they say, I don't know, that's a big red flag, because they can't be getting good product if they don't know where it's from.
He loves to send a message, and Jay Ajayi was a guy that's his best offensive player. He was mad at Ajayi, so what did he do? He traded him to the best team in the NFL.
Larry Olmsted is with us. His book, Real Food, Fake Food, is available now in paperback. For more information, you visit realfoodfakefood.com. So if I order Kobe beef, it's called Kobe beef, not Kobe beef. If I order Kobe beef, it's supposed to be the best beef in America. If I order that in a restaurant, how often am I actually getting the best beef that I'm ordering?
Almost never, and I should add here that Kobe Bryant is actually named after the beef. His dad was so impressed with it in Japan that he used the name. But the very little of what's advertised as Kobe beef, I would say, somewhere around 1%. There's maybe about a dozen restaurants in the United States that sell actual Kobe beef from Japan, but hundreds of it have it on the menu. If you ever see it as a burger, a slider in particular, any kind of processed Kobe hot dogs, then it's always fake.
His offensive line coach was doing cocaine in the office.
So Larry Olmsted is with us, and he's written this book, Real Food, Fake Food. It's available now in paperback. For more information, visit realfoodfakefood.com. Can you tell us, outside of beef and outside of seafood, what are some of the other things we're eating that we think we're eating one thing and we're wrong?
Well, one of the big issues is a labeling issue that's kind of pervasive across all foods, which is natural. That's probably the single biggest issue affecting American shoppers. The word natural is totally meaningless legally in terms of the USDA and the FDA requirements. So when you go and you think you buy natural chicken or natural anything and think that it doesn't have chemicals or drugs or is in any way processed differently, you are wrong. Anytime I see natural, I kind of cringe, because it means they're charging you more for the same crap.
Not only was the offensive line coach doing cocaine in the office, he was videoing himself doing cocaine in the office and then sent them to an adult entertainer, a stripper.
Parmesan cheese, mostly fake?
If it says Parmesan cheese, then yes, I would really avoid it. You only want to buy it when it shows the actual Italian name, Parmigiano Reggiano, because that is trademarked in the United States. The Italians have not been able to trademark the English translation Parmesan, so that can be any kind of cheese, and especially when it's in the powdered form in a little canister, that's been shown to be cut with a lot of cellulose, which is a plant-based fiber that's frequently described as wood pulp.
Wood? Wood
like sawdust.
Wow.
What? Parmesan cheese. You're just saying flatly Parmesan cheese is filled with something sawdusty.
Well, It's a naturally occurring plant fiber, so it's not actually chopped up lumber, but it's pretty similar to sawdust. And Bloomberg did a big investigation of basically all the supermarket brands of grated Parmesan a year or two ago and found rates from anywhere from a couple of percent to over 15% added cellulose, which is a lot cheaper than even the crappy cheese they use.
I mean, this offensive mastermind with the most boring offense in the history of the NFL.
What about olive oil? I'm a big olive oil consumer. Is there anything on the label that I can read that tells me whether I should be suspicious or not?
Yeah, olive oil has probably gotten the most press of any one of the foods in my book. 60 Minutes did a big expose on it, and I should add that I, too, am a huge fan of extra virgin olive oil. It's one of the healthiest things you can add to your diet. It does all kinds of things that are good for you, and it's delicious. The problem is a lot of what's labeled extra virgin olive oil out there does not meet the legal standard to be called extra virgin. So the thing I would look for most is only the good producers typically put a pressed on or crushed on date. That's something that's optional. It's not on most olive oil. I would look on the back of the label for that, and I would avoid anything that says bottled on, because that's a sort of a gimmick that they use. The oil might have been in a tank for 2 years, but they put it in a bottle and they put a date. And olive oil is a fresh pressed product. You should not be consuming anything that's old.
Since he loves to send messages, I have a message for Adam Gase. Your days are numbered. You're going to get fired.
His book, Real Food, Fake Food, available now in paperback. For more information, visit realfoodfakefood.com. Larry Olmsted with us. Before you go, Larry, just any last tips? People listening right now, things they might find surprising or interesting, or any warnings that you have for them?
Well, because each category is different. So for like olive oil, meat, cheese, in my seafood, in my book, at the end of each chapter, I have very specific tips to look for things. But the general rule is buy things in as close a form as they occur in nature as possible. If you buy a whole red snapper and you know what fish looks like and you cook and clean it yourself, you can't be fooled. But most people buy fillets which look the same. Buy whole coffee beans. Don't buy ground coffee. Buy an orange. Don't buy orange juice. That kind of thing.
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate it, sir.
My pleasure.
Cocaine, office, stripper, video. Fired.
Don Le Batard.
That guy's an idiot. He's not smart at life. He's not smart at books. He's not smart at people. He's not smart at interesting radio. He's not smart.
But that person has listened to the show every day for the last 6 years.
Should stop now.
Stugats.
I wonder, though, if it's on us.
Not on us. We're great. Awesome.
Best hour ever.
Yes! It's been our best hour in 6 years.
Yes.
Double middle fingers to you, idiot moron Jocko. Woo!
That hour just won a Marconi. What do you think of that? I don't even know what a Marconi is.
Really?
You ruined it.
We had a flow going.
We had it going. That guy's
pasta, right?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
We just gave you a foul-tasting stew of fake food and take-a-tude. And as soon as that happened, there's chaos in the back studio there. We have not been able to listen to much of anything that Guillermo has produced in the back room because we've been arguing about things. I just got into a conversation with Roy about, wait a minute, did Peter Vesey really use the N-word in a tweet? And I was having that conversation with Roy while Mike was trying to listen to this 30 for 30 to see if it's funny. Mike has not now had time to listen to the 30 for 30 at all. And we're going to play it without Mike's blessing. He didn't want to do it to begin with because he thinks we're overusing the 30 for 30s.
Right.
So this does not come with Mike's blessing. Mike did not get to hear this because Roy and I were talking about whether Peter Vesey used the N-word.
What if I told you that some foxes can be outsmarted? That the fox roaming the sidelines in Chicago actually only outsmarts his opponents 30% of the time. That this fox lacks so much confidence in his team's ability to gain 2 yards that he decided to roll the dice. That the result of this risk was not only burning a timeout, but giving the Packers the ball at the 20. That no one has ever done more harm to his team while winning a challenge. that he was so embarrassed by his mistake that he was red in the face.
Wait a minute.
That throwing up on the sideline would have been less embarrassing than throwing that challenge flag.
Would have been, that's true.
That after the game, with a very hoarse voice, he would say every indication he had was that they scored. That he and his indications were wrong.
Yeah.
That he would dig himself a deeper hole by proclaiming they go over this exact situation every single week. That he was lying about that. That the only other person this dumb is the kid in the PSA that told his basketball coach that the ball was actually out on him. That while the fox population may be thriving, this one is in danger. That this is what happens when Tariq Cohen isn't schlepping the rock. ESPN Films presents a 30 for 30 about a dumb rule and a dumber coach.
What happened, Mike? What's your critique? What happened? You're down on it?
No. The couple lines there that I would have taken out had I had the opportunity to listen to it.
Let's go to the polls here. Twitter poll is brought to you by Upside.com, giving all business travelers the gift of a better travel experience this holiday season. Check them out today at Upside.com. Which was better, the whammy reference or Greg's Gnobos joke? 56% of the audience went with Greg's Gnobos joke. Under Greg Cody's hashtag State Dog Initiative, should Florida State Dog be a mutt? 69% of the audience said yes.
Oh, nice.
Are there two people in the world? People who make their own cheese and people who don't make their own cheese. 57% of the audience said yes. Is the idea of making your own cheese interesting to you? 74% of the audience said no. Do you want to see the video of Greg Cody falling into the bushes drunk if the release of the video meant publicly shaming Greg? 85% of the audience said yes.
That was the qualifier you guys put at the end. It would have been 100% if you hadn't put that qualifier in there at the end.
No doubt. If Aaron Rodgers was on the Browns, would they win 10 games? 63% of the audience said yes. Is Dan's purse a man's purse, a woman's purse, or a satchel? 59% of the audience said a woman's purse. Do you like the moving walkway at an airport? 76% of the audience said yes. Have you ever rearranged notes on a moving walkway? Sorry, Mike. 85% of the audience said no.
It's such a weird.
It's a very young audience.
Yeah.
Arranging notes.
Very young audience.
I think of a new segment here. Mike and Stugat say they've been making fun of me for a week behind my back about this satchel I've brought in, and they didn't want anybody to overhear it.
59% say that's a woman's purse.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I feel like we should do that to Cody today based on the things we've been saying behind his back today. I think we should have a new segment where we reveal the things that we're whispering behind each other's back.
I can only imagine.
You were terrible today.
That's what you always.
This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.